This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of December 2nd, 2024. Whatever you think about your life, whatever your view of the world is, whatever your understanding is of yourself, of where you're going, and of recent events, all of that promises to be vastly different by the weekend. We are entering an extraordinary time with a cluster of aspects that are going to clarify and reveal and dispel so much about yourself, in your own lives, about the people around you, and in the greater world at large. I will give you the blow-by-blow of the influences, but know at the outset that they are going to have an impact. They are, in fact, having an impact that is like a cluster, maybe a cluster bomb energetically. So it will be difficult to see one thing happening and tie that to one specific influence because they are all working together. We are in one retrograde now, and a second inner planet retrograde starts during this week. Mercury, which rules communication, how we get around, how we think, how we share information, stationed retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius on November 25th. And it is moving slowly back through the sign. It stations direct on the 15th. And this week, Mars joins it in retrograde action in a fire sign. Fire is warm, it sparks, it can be very high energy. One retrograde in fire could be a bit frustrating. Two retrogrades in fire could be extremely frustrating, especially if you're trying to make something happen. Instead, look at what we're going into as a time to really revisit important issues involving yourself as well. Mars, the planet of action, the planet of our drive, is in the sign of Leo, creative self-expression, being your true and authentic self. And this combined retrograde is going to give us the opening, the opportunity, the invitation to go clean up a lot of stuff about ourselves, to go back over old territory, rework, revisit, rethink, finish some creative projects that have been sitting on your dining table like I've had for several years. Go back and rework, rediscover, find bits of yourself. Know that ghosts are very likely going to be showing up way ahead of Christmas Eve. Both a Mercury and a Mars retrograde have the capacity, the propensity to bring people back from the past. In your thinking, in your dreams, you might see them on social media, they might cross your mind when you hear a song, you might actually really hear from people. And know that the fact that somebody shows up again is not necessarily instructions from the cosmos that you need to let that person back into your life. Instead, take it as an invitation to compare who you are now against who you were then. And is there maybe something of the old you would like to pick back up and weave back into your current life? Childhood activities are likely to figure prominently in this, and don't be surprised if you find yourself wanting to celebrate the holidays in ways you haven't for a long time. Relationship developments are probable, are issues at the beginning of the week because the planet that rules relationships and creativity and desires and money, Venus, is in a direct current with changemaker Uranus. Venus in Capricorn in her Santa baby, give me something I can take to the bank and have with me for a long time mode, is trining Uranus in her home sign of Taurus. Breakthroughs are possible. Making connections with people also possible. Wonderful developments are possible. Limiting situations, unlocking, breaking open. Just fruit basket turnover, if anybody remembers that word, but in a happy-making way. Things that happen with Venus trining Uranus are ultimately for your benefit, and they're freeing up space for more. That is on the 2nd. And then we go into the gauntlet of oh so much happening. The noise level will very likely go up to 11 by the 4th. Thoughts flying all over creation, many, many ideas of I want to do this, I want to do that. Oh my God, I didn't see this. Oh, I got to pick this up. Texting and communicating and maybe actually even using the phone, going way overboard. But at the same time, having a sense of I have to be selective. I must take responsibility for my words. There's not enough of me to go around. What is really most important to me? And simultaneously, the sense that there may be some wonderful things out there that are floating around. You might be really nostalgic. You might have a sense of, oh my goodness, look, this inspiration is just, there's something I want to explore, experience. I want more of this. I want my life to turn into a rom-com. I want to go live in a fairy tale. I want simply to have some compassion and joy and sweetness in my life. And all of this comes from on the 4th, Mercury opposing Jupiter, and pause button, Mercury is in Jupiter's sign, Jupiter is in Mercury's sign, so they're really egging each other on here. The Sun is squaring Saturn, that's the can't have everything, have to choose, hitting a wall, need some structure, need to find some ground beneath my feet, and Venus in a sextile or opportunity aspect to Neptune, her higher counterpart in love and creativity. And then we get very, very clear about something very personal. Our understanding of ourself locks in. Something in the Mercury retrograde journey brings us a nugget that we absorb and go, yes, this makes sense. This is my truth. On the 5th, Mercury meeting the Sun. You will hear people talking about this as the Mercury cazimi. They are fusing. And as this is happening, Mars, planet of our drive, is slowing into his retrograde station, which he hits exactly on December 6th. He will be retrograde in the sign of Leo into the beginning of January and then scoot back into Cancer until nearly the end of February, when he will then station direct on February 23rd. The Mars retrograde is an extremely long period, and it is going to ultimately bring back stuff dating back as far as October. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Mars stations retrograde at 6 degrees Leo. He will just sit there for a few, and as Mercury scoots back in his retrograde journey, he will ultimately link up with Mars on December 15th. So this double retrograde period starts on December 6th. And with Mars just sitting there, kind of building strength and starting to back up, Mercury hits a wall. Mercury hits a point of certainty. Mercury squares Saturn, and we have something similar to what happened on the 4th When the sun squared Saturn, we have a moment of we can't keep having our minds running in 50 zillion directions. There needs to be a wall. There needs to be certainty. We need to be mature. We need to be careful about the thoughts that we're actually sending out into the world, the nature of our thinking, the nature of our words, accountability, responsibility, big, big, big issues. And then Venus, which at the beginning of the week had a happy link with Uranus, moves into Uranus's territory on the 7th. Venus enters Aquarius and immediately meets Pluto in Aquarius. This is a fusing of values, of collective, of community, of technology, something setting up a new paradigm for the way we are going to proceed for the next couple of decades. Massive revelations are possible with this. Venus and Pluto both rule money. Venus ruling desire, Pluto ruling the stuff that we don't openly want to talk about or perhaps cannot even articulate because it is feral or cellular. This has an element of revelation, really, really profound and important. Women are at the forefront with this. Huge amounts of money possibly at the forefront of this. And as this is happening, Neptune stations direct. This fusing of collective and community and values and a new way of being and grassroots power, if you like, happens as clouds of confusion begin to part, clouds of deceit begin to part. Neptune has been retrograde since the beginning of July. And in the time since the beginning of September has been actively working with other outer planets in wrapping up his time in the sign, with Uranus particularly wrapping up his time in Taurus, and until November 19th with Pluto wrapping up his time in Capricorn. Neptune stationing direct is going to change the currents, is going to start slowly to bring a lot to light, to dispel confusion, to dispel lies, to dispel deceit. In your personal life, all of this combines into one intense, protracted period of recognizing what you know, getting a very clear understanding of who you are, who you want to be with, what kinds of relationships you want to experience, what form of community is supportive for you and your desires and your goals and the way you want to treat people and be treated. And you will watch certain mysteries start to clear up. You will see things differently. You will watch people seeing things differently. And you will yourself have the opportunity to go back over some things that you have believed to be one way and find out maybe your beliefs were off, do some tinkering, finish up some stuff. It's a hell of a way to start the end of the year. Strap in tight. Ultimately, this is all going to lead to extremely beneficial things, but who knows what will come to light by the weekend. Focus on the community building potential of Venus and Pluto. Find your happy places. Find the vibe that reflects the kind of world you want to be in and spend as much time there as you can. Homing thought of the week. I know my mind. I know my truth. Song of the week, Defying Gravity from Wicked. And the image of the week is clouds parting. You'll learn more about this in my Mercury retrograde guide, which is up at Om Times, and in my forecast for the month of December, which is up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years experience. I have a lot of information at my Patreon, patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, including guided visualizations to help you navigate this period, some of which are available at the free membership level, and I'm very grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. And my guest this week is Ramananda John Welshans, a wonderful, wise teacher of meditation and much, much more. He's been on my show every year since it started, and I am so grateful that he is coming back to share his calm with us all. I also host lively conversation on Facebook, on the page Empowerment Unlimited, and in the group, the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at Kathy Biehl, and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian Channel. Talk to you next week.